Hey, good morning there, everybody. This is Robert, Craps for Life. We out here in the old craps room gonna do a little trip report. Bring you all along with me, let you know what happened, what's happening. Give a shout out there to all my subscribers and everybody out there, all you craps enthusiasts. Just wanted to let you know what was happening down in Biloxi. Wife and I got back yesterday afternoon. We left Sunday afternoon, drove down, got checked in the motel. The motel where we stay at is in Gulfport, the Island View, and we were down there, and their craps table is just like throwing on a trampoline. So the only thing I ever do on that is just play the dark side, hope for the best. But anyway, we got down there and the table was full when we got there, and my wife and I both had a bunch of free play, so I went over to a slot machine and cashed out a bunch of my free play and went to play video poker until the spot come open on the table. And I went over, and this was Sunday evening. I got on down there in the hook, right next to the dealer. I was just doing my minimum $10 don't pass and $10 come bet. I played through 3 sessions. I didn't shoot any one of those 3 sessions. And wife called me and said she was getting hungry, so I called her up. And I had exactly bought in for $100. I had $120. I made $20 on that session, first session. So we went and ate dinner and all, and it was starting to get late by then, and we just decided to go ahead and go to bed and get up and try it the next morning. So that was Sunday. Monday morning we got up and went down and had breakfast, and told the wife, I said, well, I'd like to go to the Bow, try those tables, and down to the Beau Rivage, and then got down there, and they only had one table open. It was a crapless table. And I asked the boss, I said, well, you going to open up a regular table? And he said, yeah, in about 20 minutes they're going to open up a new one, waiting on the crew to get there. So I just stood right there, stick level 1, and just waited on them to open up. Sure enough, about 15-20 minutes later, the crew showed up, and we commenced doing our thing. I bought in for $500, and let's see, it was myself and one other gentleman on the far end, and they passed the dice to me first. It was a $15 table. I played my usual and had a pretty decent roll. I think that roll was in the middle to upper teens. I was using the 3V set, the 3-6-3-2, and made a little money on it. I was happy with it. It was a pretty good roll. Went down to the next guy down there, and he was just a bottom feeder. He's picking up the dice and just throwing them underhand. But he still got on a pretty decent roll. He probably made it up into the teens, and I made a little bit of money off of him. I was basically just playing the 6 and the 8 with a $15 pass line. Oh, and I forgot too, on that very first roll of mine, I did a 5-5-5 and a 2-1-2 for the dealers, and hit a tall. And I needed a 2 for it all. Never could hit the 2. But anyway, it seemed like in a matter of minutes the table just filled up with people. I mean, it was The only plexiglass they have is just right here next to the dealer on both sides of the stick man. So I mean, it was pretty good shooting. I didn't have no trouble with it. So we sat and played there. I played there 3 rounds. I shot 3 times. My second one was I don't know, it was about an 8 or 9 roll, and did my same thing. I was doing 110 inside. I was trying to take 5 hits and bring it down to 66. My second, what I was doing is I was just collecting. I was just collecting money. I wasn't pressing anything until after I got past that 5 hits. So the second one, I regressed. I got my 5 hits in and regressed. Pretty much made my money, my buy-in money back, you know, for that hand. Yeah, it was a few more rolls after that and 7'd out. So the dice went around the table again in my 3rd session. Drinking some fresh hot coffee too here. My 3rd session, I didn't do nothing. It was like 3 hits and down. So I said, all right guys, I'm done. Call me up. And I was up 5. I made $60 off of that 3 runs. So I was up $60 on that hand. So the wife and I decided we're going to go over to Hard Rock for a little bit. And this is where this stuff comes from. I always get a few souvenirs. These are the new pins that just come out at the Hard Rock. And I got me a new hat from the Rock. So their craps table is exactly like mine. Same height, everything. Like all the other tables down there, except for Treasure Bay. I've got to stand up on my tippy toes just to reach down into the bed. And at the Hard Rock, stand flat-footed, just reach right down in, just like my table here. So we got over to the Hard Rock. I bought in for $300, and there was 4 of us on the table. There was 3. There was a real tall black girl that was down there on the end, and she could shoot. She was good. I guess it was her husband next to her, and all he was doing was betting. He wasn't throwing the dice. And then there was another black man, stick right 1, and that man, he was doing a pincher grip, setting to a 3V and throwing a pincher grip. And he got on some really good rolls. And I made a little bit of money off of them. And then the dice come to me. And I think I had a 6 or an 8 throw and was out. So I pretty much lost, you know, about $150 on that hand. Went around and, you know, I was betting with them. They weren't, and then just like the dice, the table just turned cold. So I lost that 300 on that table. Couldn't get nothing going on. I mean, my tosses were beautiful tosses. The dice were staying together good. They were landing good. I mean, I was getting the 6-8 inch bounce out from the back wall, doing good. So that was on my 1st and 2nd throw. They were just mediocre, average, nothing. And dice come back to me on my third roll, and set everything up. Got my bets all set, and at the Hard Rock, they don't have any ATS or any kind of proposition bets or anything, you know. So it was just straight craps. So I set my pass line, did my $5 horn bet, put my 110 inside, and started getting on a pretty good roll. And the folks down at the other end, they were green and black chip players. I mean, they were they were pretty serious, you know. I mean, there was after a couple of tosses, black chips started coming out and filling up the table. So I'm shooting, and I think I set 2 or 3 points, hit 2 or 3 points, mainly sixes and eights. And the sixes and eights were coming up, and even the pit boss said to the dealer, he said, "Man, this guy's throwing some sixes and eights, just back to back, one right after another." So I knew my dice were doing pretty good, and they were on axis, and they were landing soft, and it felt pretty good. So, and I was keeping track of my rolls. Every time I'd roll whatever it was, I'd place a chip, so I knew exactly how far in I was. I was on my 13th roll, and I'd already regressed down to 66. You know, I got my 5 in, and then I just started pressing. And I had the 6 and the 8. And I had the 6 up to 60, and I had the 8 up to 90. And just made a point, and I was on a come out roll. Set the dice and threw them, and my left dice didn't make it all the way to the back. I mean, it didn't hit the back wall. And very nicely, the pit boss, because we had been talking and everything, and he says, "Hey, Mr. Robert, I need you to make sure that hit the back wall, both of them dice." I said, "Yes, sir, no problem. I'm sorry. I've been doing pretty good." And he said, "Yep, I just need to make sure." But just by saying that, threw my game off. Instead of concentrating on delivering these dice exact same spot where I've been throwing, I said, I need to throw this a little bit deeper, to make sure I get that back wall. And lo and behold, here comes 7. Next roll was a 7. So I said, all right, I'm done. And I colored up, and I had exactly $350. I made $350 off of that buy-in. I said, well, I'm happy. Buy-in's buy-in. I mean, profit's profit. I'm good. So I went down, left the table, and wife was playing her slot machines, and I was playing some video poker, and I looked back over the table, and I think it was only one person on it, or 2. I said, I'm gonna go back over and play some more. I bought in for another 300, and lo and behold, that table just turned on me and the other guy that was on there. We could not throw anything. And in about 15 minutes, that 300 was gone. I said, man, that hurt. So I left. I said, well, I'm just going to go play some more video poker. And the wife was on some good slot machines. She wasn't about to leave. So I come back in about a half hour, 45 minutes to the table, and bought in again. Exact same thing happened. There was 3 or 4 other people on the table by then. And I lost another 300. So right now I'm $600 down. I said, man, this ain't good. Got to get some coming back doing action here. So I just kept playing, and needless to say, I lost over a third of my bankroll. I'd leave the table and then come back, leave the table and come back. What I should have done is just left the table and not bothered with it, for the rest of the day. But I wasn't there for that. I was there to play, So at the end of that day, end of Tuesday, into Monday, I was down pretty significantly. Wife was holding her own pretty good on the slot. She was doing pretty well. So we went back to the motel and ate dinner and went up and got a good night's sleep. And we were going to try it again, so we went back down to the Hard Rock. It was about the exact same thing happened. I just could not get these dice to cooperate at all. So I guess what the moral of this story is you got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. You got to know when to walk away. And something else too, that it is a completely different world sitting here on my little craps table practicing and throwing when you get down there into real life. You know, bets are flying in everywhere, and dealers are carrying on, and players are hooping and hollering, and I just know I have a lot more work to do. I have a lot more work to do. And I also noticed something on my last day of practicing, and I should have caught it the very first day, and I probably could have rectified some of it. I have a bad tendency when I pick these dice up and set them, they're level right there. They're level with the table, they're parallel with the table. When I bring them back and I go to release, I'm turning my dice. And they would hit down there and they would fly over to the left. And I try to compensate for it by, you know, bringing my wrist back, and it does nothing work. So I've got to work on that. Also something that I'm going to change up on my little table here is where I have my alligators down there. I come out 6 inches each way. Made my horseshoe loop. Well, in real life, that's really about 10, maybe 12 inches out. Because when I was throwing, I was hitting right at the very edge. I was coming down the don't pass bar, and I was still in the hook. So I need to work on that. A lot of things I need to work on. But I'm going to be laying low off of the craps tables for a while until I can get my throw down right, and see what happens. But anyway, all in all, the wife and I had a wonderful time. It's her birthday. Her birthday is Friday. So I mainly wanted to just take her down and get out of here for a little bit, and I eat some good food and sort of relax and hang out. But I just wanted to give you all that little trip report. I hope everybody had a great weekend. Stay safe. And with that, we're going to get out of here. I got practice to do. So, this is Robert. We're out. We'll be talking to y'all soon.